Hey guys, JJ here, and the sequel of the Resident Evil and Alone in the Dark inspired survival horror game, Tormented Souls 2 was announced at Gamescom. I was able to sit down with the directors, watch gameplay, and interview them about the sequel. I got a lot of really good information, so with that being said, let's get right into it. Tormented Souls was a classic-style survival horror game that released in 2021. It featured tank controls, dynamic fixed camera angles, puzzles, resource management, and all the elements of a good survival horror game. The story focused on Caroline Walker, as she investigated a mysterious disappearance of twin girls in a terrifying mansion-turned-hospital. I recently attended Gamescom 2023, where I was able to have a sit-down conversation with the directors and do a Q&A about the upcoming sequel, Tormented Souls 2. Here's what they had to say. Before we begin, I should note that the gameplay you'll be watching throughout the majority of this video is from Tormented Souls 1, as there's not much gameplay footage from Tormented Souls 2. And if you enjoy this video, please leave a like. And for all the latest news on Tormented Souls 2, make sure to subscribe. Alright, we'll start off with the story. Tormented Souls 2 picks up right after the good ending of Tormented Souls 1. Caroline is faced with an illness that no doctor is able to cure. She ends up finding a potential cure at a mysterious village. She then has no other option but to go and investigate. The village will be fully explorable and feature multiple new areas to explore, such as a school, church, and cemetery. There will be a new, wide variety of enemies to face. The developers explain these enemies as being possessed. They confirmed there will be a stalker-like enemy, similar to Mr. X in the Resident Evil 2 remake. There's a wide variety of new weapons to choose from. Most of the weapons will be homemade, similar to the first Tormented Souls. They've added in a craftable upgrade system, so items you find in the game may upgrade the weapons to improve performance or create something new altogether. One of these upgraded weapons showcased in the footage I was shown was a film reel that was used to create a bow gun. For those that were wondering, there will also be some real weapons to use as well. The gameplay we were shown featured a sawed-off shotgun that absolutely devastated enemies. I can't wait to use it in-game. The gameplay mechanics will also be getting a big upgrade. Now there's a quick selection for weapons, so you no longer need to open your inventory to select what weapon you want to use. This option is still available though for those that preferred manual selection. Now you can select which weapon is right for the enemy you're facing without having to pause the game. Puzzles are returning and they will still offer a good challenge, but now they will feature a better balance between puzzles and gameplay. There will not be a difficulty setting for puzzles. It was important the developers kept puzzles because they wanted to have a good balance between challenge and reward. There will be an option to use either limited or unlimited saves throughout the game. It depends on the player which to use. There will not be an item box. The inventory management will be similar to the first game. There will not be an over-the-shoulder camera option. The game will feature dynamic fixed camera angles, similar to the first game. The director said this was important to the game's DNA, which I respect. New costumes will be available, and they're considering additional story DLC for the game. They have confirmed a physical release for Tormented Souls 2, but a collector's edition, steelbook, or soundtrack is still yet to be determined. They have expressed their interest, so there's a good chance we'll also be getting those. The original game was developed using the Unity engine. Tormented Souls 2 will be developed using Unreal Engine 5. This will allow the developers to make a much more detailed environment that will be less taxing and resource heavy. During the event, I was shown a visual comparison between Tormented Souls 1 and Tormented Souls 2, and there was a vast difference. Between the lighting, atmosphere, and visuals, there's big improvements over the first game, and it looked visually impressive. I was lucky enough to be shown footage that wasn't even shown to the press, and I can assure you this game has some serious potential. And lastly, professional voice actors have been chosen this time around. While some enjoyed the bit of cheesy dialogue in the first game, the developers wanted actors who could really embody the deeper story they were trying to tell. One thing that stood out to me during this interview was how important it was to them to retain the classic survival horror formula. The developers want to stay true to what Tormented Souls is, and they don't want to sacrifice that by dumbing down the difficulty or making the game appealing to the masses. Tormented Souls 2 is truly a survival horror game by fans for fans, and that's the way they want to keep it, and I respect that. I'm really looking forward to this game and can't wait to see more gameplay once it releases. You can expect a release of Tormented Souls 2 late 2024. The game will be available on PS5, Steam, and Xbox Series X and S. but now I'm curious to know your thoughts. Are you excited for Tormented Souls 2? Have you played the first game? If you didn't, you probably should. And was your question answered, or was there something else you would like to know about the game that I could potentially ask in a future interview? Let us know down below and let's have a discussion about it. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and for all the latest news on Tormented Souls 2, make sure to subscribe. The Residents of Evil is a Patreon supported channel and also supported by our YouTube members. So if you'd like to become a member and unlock access to custom badges, emojis, and exclusive live streams, click that join button down below. You can join our survival horror community on Discord, link will be in the description, and I have the Duke here to tell you a little about our sponsor, G Fuel.
Do you have need of anything for the road ahead? The Residents of Evil has expanded its services. Perhaps you're in need of a little pick-me-up. I recommend the G Fuel. You can even get a fair discount if you use the code ROE upon purchase. And as always, we thank you for your patronage, stranger.
As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope to see you back at the Residents of Evil.